What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and welcome to Wonder Waddle Week, a continued exploration in trying to find the best Wonder Waddle approximation. Now that that hero has been nerfed, and this is basically HatBall Week as well. I'm calling it Wonder Waddle Week, but it's basically HatBall Week, trying to force HatBall and trying to figure out the best heroes to force HatBall on. And it's hard to mention HatBall without mentioning Peter Pants, the original HatBall hero. So we're going to take a look at Peter Pants today in this game from the previous patch, but nothing has really changed on this patch for Peter Pants, so should be just about the same. And we get to start by locking onto a Lucky, a Queen of Hearts, and a Vampire. Those are all three pretty good units on Peter Pants. Queen of Hearts just being a really strong unit, Vampire being nice because it gets that additional scaling, and then Queen of Hearts, or Lucky rather, being just a great early unit to be able to pick up additional characters early on. So this is a really good start. The Cinderella is not super exciting, and that's actually kind of similar to Wonder Waddle. Sometimes I'll pick up a Cinderella if I find one early, but I'm not really going to waste too much gold in trying to complete that quest. I'd rather try to complete a tier 3 quest, and I'm super excited to pick up a Brave Princess on the third turn. That is a much better questing character for us, and then I'll pick up the Vampire next because that is a scaling character, locking onto, again, 2 strong level 3 characters. Next turn, we might have to sell off our Cindy in order to pick up both the Queen and the Stag. We'll want to pick up as many level 3 characters as we possibly can. Unfortunately, Brave Princess is going to get attacked into, but we do still win the combat and get that additional econ here from Lucky, so that part is nice. I'm going to move my Slay characters to the back row, and I'm going to briefly lock the shop before eventually just deciding to sell off this Cinderella. Really what I was getting at is, though there are some new tier 2 treasures in the game, really when you are playing Peter Pants, you are just looking to find tier 3 treasures. So I want to pick up as many tier 3 characters as we possibly can, and not going to worry about picking up the Stag. While I do think that it would be strong, I also want to play as many evil characters as I possibly can, because that's going to give me the most power out of my Queen of Hearts and just allow me to maintain a strong health total while digging for this HatBall. So that's the plan, and we are going to be winning all of our combats and then definitely pushing us in this evil direction. We get to pick up a pair of Wicked Witches, so that part is pretty nice here as well. I will play around with this board a little bit after selling off the Minotaur to pick up a Mummy, which is another level 3 character, but really I want to play this Lucky for as long as I can, and I think that we hit a pretty big power spike on this turn. I want to play the Vampire as well because it scales. I do take a look for a second at a board like this, where we play our ranged character as well, but I don't think I need to play the Spellweaver. I think I can get away with playing the Lucky, and I also always want to play this Brave Princess, so we can try to slay with that and grab a tier 3 treasure from it. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to slay this turn, but we are going to walk away with a win thanks to taking out that huge Siren. And then we grab our first tier 3 treasure. We get to roll the die into one of these Wicked Witches, and we'll pick up a Merlin's hat from that. And that's great. We're looking for Merlin's hat and Crystal Ball, and we found half of the combo already. So this is really nice. I'll wind up moving some things around, trying to make a little bit stronger of a board this turn, though. We are adding a Queen of Hearts to the board, so we are definitely stronger. But we are playing up against Beauty, the lobby leader. It's always a question of, like, how much do you want to greed? I like playing Lucky for as many combats as I can when I'm playing Peter Pants, though I do also like winning my combats. So that way we can just stay strong and really spend as much time as we need to try to find this crystal ball. So that's the idea, and I think we are going to be strong enough with this pair of Queen of Hearts. We are also going to grab our sleigh with Brave Princess, so that's really nice, and then we're going to grab quite an easy win. So maybe we could have thrown a lucky into the mix. I think we were strong enough. We're going to pick up another mummy, and now we've got multiple pairs going on right now. We also could pick up another lucky, though I'm not going to be playing lucky for too much longer. So I wound up rolling past the lucky, then I sell off my Humpty Dumpty to pick up another Spellweaver, and now I've got 3 potential pairs that we're building into, and that's really great. The Brave Princess definitely looking a little bit awkward, so we might have to, like, one thing that I'll do a lot, well, I guess I don't want to spoil it too much because it is going to be what I wind up doing in this game, but oftentimes, I mean, we picked up this Brave Princess pretty early on. We picked it up on the 3rd turn, so we've just gotten a little bit unlucky that it has been unable to slay, but a lot of times with Peter Pants, you do wind up slaying with your Brave Princess later into the game just because it is so important to grab every single tier 3 treasure that you possibly can. And one of the ways that you can do that is by finding Sting. That's one of the level 3 treasures that you might find on your way to picking up the hat and the ball. So we take a little bit of damage there, but we can use treasures to pump up our Ogre Princess. Like Power Orb will give it +1/+1, and then we could find Sting later on. I briefly move it to the back line. That could also help us potentially slay with it, but then when we find this Queen of Hearts triple, that is going to give us Sting, so then I'll move Brave Princess back to the front and we should be able to slay with that no problem and be pretty strong as well, adding both of these mummies to the board supported by the Wicked Witch. And this could even make us strong enough that we could decide to play the Lucky instead of the Vampire. Now that we have the upgraded Queen of Hearts, that's going to be a lot more stats. We can deal with it having -4/-4 from playing one less evil character, but I think that playing up against the lobby leader again, either way you play that is a fair way to do so, but I do wind up throwing in the Lucky and it eats a mummy missile, so definitely a good move there. We're going to have enough stats to win this combat, win our Reckless Wager, and grab another tier 3 treasure, which is going to find us the crystal ball. So now we are off to the races. We've got hat and ball, and we will start to pick up some blind mice to start to do some nice stuff with that. We also get to start casting some spells. We will True Love's Kiss our Brave Princess up into a Puff Puff, and then we'll cast a few more spells to put a little bit more stats onto our Spellweavers. We'll turn the one in the back line good, so that will give us some nice additional stats there. I was planning on doing some additional content towards the end of this video. I'm now not sure where I'm going to do that because this is actually my 3rd time recording this video, and because of just some tech issues, yeah, the first 2 didn't take. So really awkward. This might wind up being a little bit of a shorter video, but I thought it was a nice look at Peter Pants. I like to take a look at Peter Pants at least once per patch, right? And we did not get to look at Peter Pants recently, so thought it could be nice to do so. The Spellweavers are going to be strong enough that we win this combat and deny Zippy the Zombie an Evil Twin by 1 turn, so that's pretty nice as well, but was definitely betting on myself there, and I think I made a good bet because we were certainly strong enough to win that. Pick up a pair of Wizard's Familiars, and then I'll go ahead and triple this mummy. It's not going to get us any treasures that we care about, but it will just be another nice upgraded character to have. Eventually you want all upgraded characters on Peter Pants. Speaking of which, we will upgrade our Wizard's Familiar. That'll give us a 13/13, quite a beastly little unit there. Then I probably want to go ahead and lock onto a Spellweaver. I don't have any characters to cast this Shard of the Ice Queen on, so I'm just going to lock onto this Spellweaver for the time being. Basically, the only change on this patch is that we are going to have some new artwork on some of the cards now, but Peter Pants is still going to play out on the same. None of the tier 2 or tier 3 characters or treasures have changed, though I guess if we Mix-a-Wizzle and True Love's Kiss into some stuff later in the game, we could see some units that have changed a little bit on this new patch. But pick up a Spellweaver and we'll start just doing some HatBall things. We are trying to cast as many spells on these characters as possible. Interestingly, this is a decision that happens twice in the game. We have a Spellweaver and a Blind Mouse in the same shop. You want to pick up the Spellweaver first because then maybe you could find a treasure map into a tier 6 treasure. You don't really need tier 6 treasures on Peter Pants, though maybe you wind up finding like a Pandora's box and then can grab a tier 7 treasure, which is just of course a lot of fun. There are some other tier 6 treasures that are slightly interesting, namely there is Wand of Weirding. Though the silly thing about that is Wand of Weirding is the exact same treasure as Forking Rod when you're playing Peter Pants, as long as you also have the hat. Doubling your 2 cost or less spells is the same thing as doubling all of your spells. So not really a huge change there, and it's still fun to like take a look for the tier 6 treasures because sometimes you can do some silly stuff, but not going to wind up being too relevant. We take out Potion Master, who is another ball player with a boiling beaker, and this game is looking close to ending. We are down to the top 4. So not too much time left in the game. There is definitely a question of like, should you even waste time picking up these blind mice and things at this stage of the game? And I could definitely see just skipping over these mice in favor of prioritizing some mages and then also some spells and rolling for some more spells, but it's fun, and it's fun to try to grab the Forking Rod. It can definitely be really powerful. The Moonsong Horn, all that really does is make True Love's Kiss cost 1 less, because every other spell will be free when you've got a hat on Peter Pants. But free True Love's Kisses, I won't pass that up either, so that could be fun. And I think we're going to be strong enough here to win our Reckless Wager, which could potentially put us into the finals, though we're Peter Pants, so that makes it a little bit tougher to actually find kills towards the end of the game, and it looks like we are going to fall just short of grabbing that last kill, and then Cupid could further complicate some things too. I think we are going to, yeah, we do have 1 more unit die, so we hit them for 7, but we're on to now the top 3. And the main thing that we have to be afraid of right now is this Zippy the Zombie, which is always a really scary character to have in your lobbies towards the end of the game, because that hero can do just some absolutely crazy stuff. So I am a little bit afraid that Zippy is one of the heroes in the lobby. I told you this happens twice. We're going to pick up Spellweaver, then the Blind Mouse. Not find any relevant treasures on either of those things though, and then we'll just go back to casting some spells. So we're probably done trying to pick up some treasures for this game, but we do have 1 more look, this time at a tier 2 treasure, and we actually get a relevant one in Boiling Beaker. Wasn't really expecting to find a relevant tier 2 treasure, but like I said, Peter Pants now has access to Big Book of Spells and Boiling Beaker on level 2, which are quite powerful treasures when you are trying to HatBall. So that is going to allow us to add a bunch more stats to our board, which will hopefully be enough to allow us to take on this Zippy the Zombie who has taken out the Fates now. We'll pick up another Spellweaver, and then I will go for another True Love's Kiss onto our Boomhilda, which turns into an Echo Wood. Not the best character for us, but Hercules seems like it could be cool, and I brought up tier 6 treasures a lot during this game. Tier 6 treasure could be pretty cool to add to the board. I'm not going to worry about picking up any more Wizards Familiars at this point, and then I go for a True Love's Kiss on the Mummy, turn it into a Feasting Dragon, finish off the turn by picking up a Kidnap. I would have loved to True Love's Kiss the Hercules after it had given the treasure, but I didn't want to fire it off just yet before we grabbed that treasure from Hercules. So That part was a little bit awkward. We could have locked onto the True Love's Kiss. That also could have been a play. And then we also could have started to True Love's Kiss the Wizard's Familiars, but then you give up on all of the scaling from it. So all of that was a little bit awkward. But what is pretty cool is I wind up stealing an Aeon from this B player. We are going to take some damage from them, so that part's awkward, but we steal an Aeon and we activate Hercules. Ninth Book of Merlin doesn't do anything on Peter Pants, neither does the Ark. So I definitely don't want either of those treasures, but Mimic Chest could be really cool. That could allow us to cast a bunch of spells. So I want that, and I'm going to partner that up by picking up an Aeon and replacing my Merlin's hat. And this is a little bit risky, but it could also work out really, really well for us. So I'm excited to try this out. Now we've got a Mimic Chest Boiling Beaker. So every time we cast a spell on a character, that is going to give it an additional +4/+4 on top of those other stats. That's going to mean that we've got an absolutely massive Wombats in Disguise, recently buffed, though it's going to be a 33/33 for us here. Won't be too big of a deal that we're playing with the Wombats in Disguise pre-buff. And this Scion of the Storm that we have added to the board is looking good, though my opponent has a Pandora's Box, and we're not going to kill them this turn either. So they're going to have access to a tier 7 treasure. Pretty spooky stuff. This could definitely get a little bit scary, but we still get to cast a bunch of spells this turn ourselves, and we could add some nice characters to the board, including a Good Boy, which looks to be extremely powerful. Every spell that we cast on the Good Boy is going to give it an additional +4/+4, like I said, with the Boiling Beaker. So I'm going to try to cast as many spells on that as I possibly can, and I will even move my Aeon to the back line, so that way my entire back line is good characters, and then I'll just move my other Spellweaver to the front. And because I think that my opponent is within kill shot range, I'm going to sell off my other characters just to try to cast a few more spells on this Good Boy. I'll sell off my Spellweaver. That allows me to cast 2 more Potion of Heroisms in the final moments of this combat. Is that going to be enough? My opponent had Black Prism Crystal Ball for a turn. Pretty spooky stuff. However, we have an absolutely massive backline thanks to that buffed up, upgraded Good Boy, which allows us to take our opponent out. So a really, really sweet game, and definitely Peter Pants showing why he is the premier HatBaller. Like I said, I just don't have the time right now to go into this fully in depth, but I at least wanted to give a shout out during Wonder Waddle Week to Sky Castle. Sky Castle being really the best approximation of Wonder Waddle, I think, that is currently in the game. And I think the best way to grab a Sky Castle is typically going to be through Blind Mouse. And the easiest way to find blind mice is on Pied Piper, Peter Pants, which we looked at in this one, Wonder Waddle itself, and also the Fates. Getting fated to a blind mouse can help you find that a little bit easier. This game was a little bit silly because I delayed my fated pick so that I could get fated to a blind mouse. That's going to make the whole thing a little bit slow. We do wind up finding a Sky Castle, and then I just roll because I was trying to force this comp for Wonder Waddle Week. I think when you are trying to force this comp, it isn't really as good, and then I wind up not finding the ball immediately. I have to go through a few other treasures first, like Sting and Haunted Helm. So this strategy isn't the best to force. I wanted to bring that up, but it can definitely be a lot of fun, especially on those 4 heroes that I named: Wonder Waddle itself, the Fates, Pied Piper, and Peter Pants. All of those can put together the Sky Castle from Blind Mice a little bit earlier, and then once you do that, you can just pick up a bunch of 3-cost royals and try to find the crystal ball. I guess we're going to need one more attempt at it from this game, and eventually, yeah, we get there. What do we triple up a another ogre princess. Okay, now at this point in this game, you can see I am in third place right now, but I definitely just spent way too much time trying to find this, so I am not gonna have enough stats. I think I wind up going out here and getting like fourth place. We find some other characters. The thing is, like, I spent all that time picking up royals that then after I found HatBaller, had to spend time to pick up mages. So I just wound up like wasting a whole bunch of time trying to do this, but it's definitely something that is still in the game if you were looking for that Wonder Waddle fix. But you can also get a pretty good HatBaller fix playing some Peter Pants as well. That is going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let's jump ahead just to watch me get creamed in this last combat from an upgraded Bear Stain. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.